What's up guys, and welcome to my review of the Leica Elmarit R 35mm f2.8. Last year I accidentally discovered my dad's old photo box with plenty of vintage lenses inside. One of them is the 35mm Leica prime lens. According to the serial number, this lens was manufactured in 1974. Aperture reaches from 2.8 to 22. I was surprised how much you still have to pay for such a Leica lens nowadays. 400 to 500 bucks. I use a cheap Leica R to E-mount adapter you easily can get on Amazon. With the adapter, the lens is not the smallest solution, but neither too big as you can see when comparing it to the SEL35f18. This metal lens is very heavy for its size, but that's normal for vintage glass. The minimal focus distance is 0.3 meters, which is an average performance. The Leica 35mm has 6 aperture blades, so you get a hexagon background light when filming in low light situations. Transversal chromatic aberrations occur on high contrast edges. On an APS-C camera, the Leica doesn't show any of those at f2.8. Longitudinal chromatic aberrations, or bokeh fringing, occur in out of focus areas. The amount seems to be acceptable on the 35mm. Color accuracy is measured with a color checker in DaVinci Resolve. But keep in mind that videography is about being creative. Maybe you want a lens that produces warm colors instead of accurate colors. The Leica 35mm renders pretty accurate colors and is just as good as my Zeiss 24mm 1.8. To measure the general sharpness, I compared these test shots with all lenses I own. The radius of my test chart is 6760 pixels. 10 is the highest rating given subjectively by myself. The rating is multiplied with the respective radius. Sharpness performance at f2.8 is good but not outstanding. Although this lens is designed for full-frame sensors, extreme corners are quite soft. Awkwardly, sharpness from the center extends when stopped down to f5.6, but at the same time the soft areas in the corners extend negatively to the center. In comparison with all my tested lenses so far, the Leica 35mm scores quite decent at f2.8. My surprising results at f5.6 mean an average performance at that aperture. Close-up sharpness is not really measured and calculated. I assess the test shots of a lens subjectively in relation to all my lenses I own. The Leica 35mm shows good results at f2.8. On this close-up test chart, corners gained a mentionable amount of sharpness in the corners at f5.6. At f2.8, the Leica 35mm is my sharpest vintage lens and is just as good as the modern SEL35f18. At f5.6, the Leica also shows very good results. So here are the final results for the Leica 35mm f2.8. When taking all tested performances into account, this vintage lens shows a damn good performance. But keep in mind that lenses like the SEL35f18 are also rated for their performance at f1.8, where sharpness is usually lower than at f2.8. Optical performance of this vintage lens is really good and it's not too big for everyday use. But it's pretty expensive for a vintage lens on a crop sensor camera. I would love to test it on a Sony A7 and see how it performs. A few days ago I ordered a cheap speed booster. After some testing I will upload a review. I'm curious how the Leica 35mm behaves on the speed booster. Until then, take care everybody. See ya!